Hello, welcome to History and Art Secrets for a new journey in search of knowledge. This video story is dedicated to the life of Vittorio Alfieri and is divided into two parts, considering the importance of the topic discussed. This is the first episode. Vittorio Amadeo Alfieri, Asti, January 16, 1749 Florence, October 8, 1803, was an Italian playwright, poet and writer. His native language was Piedmontese, but being of noble origins, he also learned French and Italian. To improve his Italian, he devoted himself to reading the classics and making numerous trips to Florence to perfect the language. After a restless youth, he devoted himself to the study of Plutarch, Dante, Petrarch, Machiavelli and the Enlightenment thinkers such as Voltaire and Montesquieu. From these authors he derived a rationalist and classicist vision in favor of freedom, to which he combined the exaltation of the typically romantic genius. He was enthusiastic about the French Revolution during his stay in Paris in 1789, but due to his degeneration, he developed a strong aversion to France. He returned to Italy, where he continued to write, opposing Napoleon's regime, and where he died, being buried among the great Italians in the Basilica of Santa Croce in Florence. He was born to the Count of Cortimiglia, Antonio Amadeo Alfieri and the Savoyard Monica Maillard de Tournon. His father died of pneumonia shortly after Vittorio's birth and his mother remarried in 1750 with Carlo Giacinto Alfieri, a relative of her late husband. He lived until the age of 10 in Asti at Palazzo Alfieri and was entrusted to a tutor. He suffered from anxiety neurosis, a condition that would continue throughout his life, also causing him gastric psychosomatic disorders. In 1758, at the behest of his tutor, he was enrolled in the Royal Academy of Turin where he completed his studies in grammar, rhetoric, philosophy and law. He defined these as 8 years of education. A donkey, among donkeys and under a donkey, referring to inadequate teachers. In 1766 he left the academy without completing his studies and enlisted in the army where he remained until 1774. During this period he also discovered one of his passions, his love for horses. Between 1766 and 1772, he visited Italy from Milan to Naples, stopping in Florence and Rome. In 1767 he arrived in Paris where he met King Louis XV. In 1768 he arrived in London and then in the Netherlands. In The Hague he lived a great love with the wife of Baron Imhoff. Forced to separate from her to avoid a scandal, he attempted suicide, which failed due to the intervention of his trusted servant. He returned to Turin, where he stayed in his sister Giulia's house and remained there until he was 20, when, coming into possession of his inheritance, he decided to leave Italy again. Between 1769 and 1772, from Vienna, he went to Berlin, meeting Frederick II and finally arriving in Russia. In London in 1771 he met Penelope Pitt, wife of Viscount Ligonier with whom he began a relationship. The Viscount, having discovered the affair, challenged him to a duel and was wounded in the arm. At 24 he returned to Turin in 1773 and devoted himself for 2 years to an intense study of literature, renouncing years of travel and debauchery and going so far as to have himself tied to a chair. In Turin he took a house in Piazza San Carlo, furnished it sumptuously, coming to own a vast library. In 1775 he completed the tragedy Antony and Cleopatra and began other tragedies such as Philip and Polynices and Don Garzia. He returned to Tuscany in 1777, to Siena, where he wrote The Pazzi Conspiracy, The Treaty of Tyranny, Agamemnon, Orestes and Virginia. Here he met the woman who kept him tied for the rest of his life. Princess Louise of Stolberg-Gedden, Countess of Albany, wife of Charles Edward Stuart, Jacobite pretender to the throne of Great Britain. Here ends the first episode. If you liked the video, click like, share it on your social networks and subscribe to our channel. See you in the second episode. Thank you. Hello.